Hey, good morning. Welcome to Take 5. Let's jump right in. So this morning we've been recapping the sermon from Sunday in our fourth installment of our Back to Basics series that we entitled just simply Tattle-tale. And we're talking about the life of Joseph. Yesterday we talked about the fact that our potential in life is not always directly tied to our purpose and vice versa. And today I want to talk about the second thing we discussed Sunday, and that is that Joseph was committed to his purpose in life, even during the process of preparation. He was committed to his purpose, even during the process of preparation. Think about and remember his story. In the very beginning, Joseph receives this dream from God, and he is called to be in some form of high leadership, right? The dream was that his brothers and his parents would bow to him as he is in some form of high leadership. After he receives that dream, however, the very next thing that happens is he ends up being thrown into a pit by his brothers and then sold into slavery. And then he's sold again to a man named Potiphar. Then he's lied on by Potiphar's wife and thrown in prison. None of those things equaled the dream. But what we would later find out is that God was using every step in Joseph's story to prepare him for what he had ultimately called him for. We see that in Potiphar's house where Joseph does very well with his work, and then he is promoted into the second in command. He basically is handling all of Potiphar's affairs. And then the same thing happens again when he finds himself in prison. He does so well there that he is promoted to where he's basically running the entire prison as a prisoner. And he learns some skills there in those years of preparation that were getting him ready for what God had ultimately called him for. Now here's the thing. I know personally, and I think you could admit the same thing this morning as well, is that if you and I were in Joseph's shoes, knowing that we were called to some high purpose, some great role of leadership, some great calling, we would not fare so well in those years of waiting. I know I wouldn't anyway. I would be sitting there thinking, God, you called me to so much more. Why am I here working as a servant in a man named Potiphar's house? God, you called me to so much more. Why am I in prison when I didn't even do anything wrong? God, you've called me to so much more. Why am I here? Why am I there? You've called me to so much more. But the Bible says Joseph didn't do any of that. He didn't whine. He didn't complain. He didn't ask God why. He didn't continually, bring up his calling or his dreams into God's face. The Bible says actually that when he got to Potiphar's house, and the same thing when he was thrown in prison, that he just worked. He worked with excellence. He worked with diligence. He did the responsibilities and the tasks that he was given in each place. He did them with excellence, and he served well. And because of that, the Bible says that Potiphar and the prison warden saw that the Spirit of the Lord was with Joseph. There's his purpose right there. Joseph was committed to his purpose. He was committed to representing God well in this world, even though he was not in the place, ultimately, that God had called him to be in life. So Joseph was committed to his purpose, even during the process of preparation. And the question I have for you this morning is, would you be that committed to the purpose? Are you that committed to God's purpose in your life? Maybe there's some circumstances in your life that aren't exactly what you dreamed they would be, what you hoped they would be, what you eventually desire them to become. But my question for you today is even though those things maybe aren't exactly what you dream or hope or desire they'll be, can you still serve in those areas of your life with excellence? Can you stay committed to God's purpose even in the process of preparation? Joseph did, and ultimately it prepared him and it blessed him to become the vice president, if you will, of Egypt later in his life. And not only that, but even when he was in Potiphar's house and when he was in prison, the Bible says that he impacted those places so much because he was willing to stay committed to his purpose. Hey, I hope you have a great day today. I'll see you right here again tomorrow on Take 5.